Hello, Becky. My name is Daniel Burgess. I'll be doing my directorial presentation on Straight White Men, written by Young Gene Lee. Brief plot summary or style descriptions of the play. Ed, the father, and his three adult sons, Matt, Devin, and Jake, come together to celebrate Christmas. They enjoy cheerful trash talking, pranks, and Chinese food. When they confront a problem that Matt is having and the happy family can't resolve it, when identity matters and privilege is problematic, what is the value of being a straight white man mean? And I think Matt is dealing with that to some degree. We don't ever find out what Matt is dealing with. It's an existential crisis that we'll never know until the ends of time. But the title, I think, can seem misleading, but all in all, it turns out to be a pretty great story, and I think the style of it is like psychological realism, and it's set during Christmas on a living room couch. I love Christmas. I also love Halloween. I also love my birthday. But I really gravitate towards family-driven stories. I just think it's very real, it's very easily able to be connected to from being an audience member. So I'm really excited to explore because we see a side of a person that we don't get to see in public, which is usually how we see to most people. And being in that house environment, we get to, again, see things we're not really allowed to see or shouldn't see necessarily. But I think Young Gene Lee is getting us to sympathize with these straight white men, which is something that is very interesting, especially in the times that we're in, and the school that we're in. I think to sympathize with these types of people necessarily can be non-existent. So I think it's super fun to play with that idea. I will be doing a scene from page 38 to 47 when the two brothers Jake and Drew and their father Ed try to discover what happened with Matt the night before. What had happened was Matt had just started bawling when they're eating Chinese food and just ran off, didn't really say anything about it. But when they try to figure it out in this scene, they just end up arguing and are unable to come to a resolution with leaving just Jake by themselves and dancing. And I want to add that in the scene too, because that's fucking cool. Matt continuously enters in and out of the scene, which is also fun. I think that just gives like the actors something to play off of like secret. Oh, Matt came in, we have to act and play pretend. There's this funny thing that we have been talking about in Pippin, and our director keeps bringing up this idea that we are continuously performing, no matter what, performing on stage, backstage, with our partner, with our best friends from home versus with our best friends, over here. We're just in a constant state of, shifting. So again, playing with this idea of like how the family can be with each other when they're all together it's forever changing. The main characters are Jake, Devin, Ed, and Matt. Jake seems to have a very good general understanding of their privilege and tries to defend Matt. I think perhaps he comes off too aggressive, but it all comes from a genuinely good place and seems to get bullied the most out of all the brothers. Matt is also very socially aware, and it was shown they were very socially aware at a very young age. But it just seems like Matt has no idea what's going on. I don't have any idea what's going on, but they seem to be very close with the family. But however, he refuses to get their help and would rather avoid the situation. Devin is the more like I don't care type of older brother and has solidified views and likes to mess around with Jake the most. They have a really good relationship and is fairly blunt and believes Matt should move out of Ed's house and find something better to do. He's just like, yo, Matt, you gotta find something else because this ain't working. And Matt has been living with Ed for a pretty long time. Ed is the father and is very caring and is still mourning the loss of his wife, the mother of Devin, Jake, and Matt. Uh, he seems to be very lenient with Matt because he feels lonely. He doesn't mind Matt staying with him at all, and he most likely feels guilty about letting him stay. But Ed is getting old, and he likes Matt's company. He tries to bring order into the scene as if he were a judge. I mean, he is the parent, and with his own sense of reason, he's not very clear of what privilege has done in his life. It makes me think of my father. My father is also a white straight male, and but we can get into that later. I chose this play because it was written by an Asian woman. It was written by a Korean woman and someone I identify with. I'm constantly trying to find more pieces I identify with for my Asian heritage. I am also a straight white man, so I thought it was kind of perfect. What feels to be the most important and vital thing about this script is just the way it's written. The way it's written is really good, extremely natural. It's just like very satirical and having us feel bad for white people. I think Jake and Matt are very important characters in there too. And just having that conversation with your white parents about what privilege is, and like it's just really hard. So I commend Jake for like really going out there. Probably the first time he's ever even like brought up these ideas himself to his family, trying to defend Matt. It's hard. It's very emotionally driven too. So that anxiety kind of resonated with me. But yeah, person 1 and person 2 and how they identify and their power over this world is extremely cool. Them being non-binary and people of color, and their sexuality can vary of whatever kinds other than straight. I think is very powerful. I think it's very interesting in how they kind of have control over this world and how the story is told. But the main theme that is central for me, again, is privilege. What is privilege? In what ways do I have privilege? In what ways does that help me? And in what ways could I potentially help others? This is a general question. I mean, something I should ask myself, something I want the audience to ask themselves. It's just all around. What version of the scene? What do you want your version of the scene to do, say, accomplish? I want it to be entertaining. It's a funny scene. I want people to laugh. I want people to connect and resonate. Understanding that these characters are trying to come from a good place and that these characters care for one another. It's not just, it's not trying to top one another. It's just truly trying to come to an understanding. And I think that's what I want to get the most out of all of this. And that they're a family, and what is the ugly side of it and what is the harmonious side of that. I want it to kind of blend both. 3 to 5 images or pictures that the play sparks for me is Christmas, cowboys, and Chinese food, which is something I want and something I might want to play with. Not the Chinese food, maybe, and the cowboy hats, maybe, but probably not. But Christmas, like Christmas pajamas, I kind of want everybody to rock some Christmas pajamas. One or more pieces of music that sparked for me was Christmas music and classical piano. I didn't really think of music playing in the background of these scenes, but more so transitioning into each scene. And I just thought of like Christmas music or like pretty sounds or pretty classical music or just transitional music rather than songs in the background necessarily. However, I do think playing with music is really fun and joyful to watch. Just got my cast solidified yesterday. Jack Hopewell, he is a MT majors, and he's a senior. He'll be playing Matt. Charlie Nicolini. What grade is Charlie Nicolini in?
Junior.
Charlie Nicolini is a junior. And acting major? And as an acting major, let's go. There's not enough of us. And we'll be playing Ed, the father. Bailey Ammons, I believe, is also a junior and is an acting major, and we're playing Jake. And finally, Jordan Eck, who is a senior and will be playing Devin. I'm really excited about this cast. I'm really excited to start rehearsal. And yeah, thank you very much.